Imagine your body the way it was designed to move, not the way chairs, desks, and long car rides have trained it to move today, but the way humans have moved for thousands of years. Picture people eating, resting, talking, and working close to the ground, with hips dropped low, heels flat, and the spine relaxed. That position is what many call the resting squat. It is not a gym exercise. It is not something only athletes do. It is actually a natural human position, built into us since childhood, yet most adults slowly lose it without noticing. Today, we are going to explore why this simple posture may quietly shape the health of your entire body. And as we go through this, I want you to imagine your own life, your habits, your stiffness, your aches, and ask yourself a question. What if the answer is not more gadgets or complicated programs, but simply returning to something your body already knows? When we are children, squatting is effortless. Kids drop into a deep squat to play, pick things up, and look around, staying there comfortably for minutes at a time. But as we grow older, chairs replace movement. Our hips stop traveling through their full range. Our ankles stiffen. Our knees lose confidence. The body adapts to what it does most. And if what it does most is sit in a chair, then walking, bending, and squatting begin to feel foreign, almost dangerous. The truth is, the body is not broken, it just hasn't been practiced. The resting squat is powerful because it wakes up areas that modern life puts to sleep. When you slowly lower yourself into a deep squat, the first thing you notice is the stretch through your ankles. Most of us barely move our ankles all day. In a squat, the ankles finally flex, the Achilles tendon lengthens, and the small stabilizing muscles come alive. This is one reason many people feel better balance and fewer trips or stumbles after practicing regularly. The body begins to trust itself again. Then there are the hips. The hips are like the control center of movement. They connect your upper body to your lower body. They influence your spine, your knees, even your walking pattern. Tight hips often create back pain because the spine is forced to do work the hips should have done. In a resting squat, the hips drop deeply, gently encouraging the muscles surrounding them to relax and lengthen. Over time, this improves mobility not only in the hips, but in the entire chain of movement that depends on them. Some people worry that squatting is bad for the knees. That fear usually comes from years of stiffness more than from real damage. When a squat is done slowly, with heels on the ground, and without forcing anything painful, the knee joint is actually nourished. The cartilage receives more nutrients. The surrounding muscles stabilize the joint, and the nervous system learns that bending deeply is safe again. It is like reminding the knee, this is normal. You were built for this. Now think about your back. Many people carry tension across the lower back like a permanent weight. Hours of sitting with rounded shoulders compress the spine, and eventually it complains in the form of pain, tightness, or fatigue. In a resting squat, the pelvis shifts, creating gentle traction through the spine. You might feel your lower back decompress slightly, like space is being created between the vertebrae. That feeling is your spine, remembering its natural shape. But the benefits do not end with muscles and joints. Inside the body, something else happens. When you lower into a deep squat, your organs shift in a way that actually supports digestion. The pressure pattern encourages movement through the intestines. This is the reason many cultures naturally squat for toileting, and why people often report better bowel habits once they begin squatting regularly. It is not magic. It is simply alignment. The squat also invites the core to participate, not the six-pack muscles that people chase in the gym, but the deeper stabilizing muscles that protect your spine and support breathing. When you stay in a resting squat, your body has to balance itself from the center. Your diaphragm moves more freely. Your breath deepens without effort. Over time, people who practice notice that everyday movements such as lifting groceries, climbing stairs, or standing up from the floor feel easier. Their body begins to cooperate again. Another fascinating change happens in the nervous system. Modern life keeps us in constant forward mode. Screens, deadlines, rushing, stress. The resting squat is grounding. You are literally closer to the earth, your hips relaxed, your shoulders soft. Many people find that a slow breathing pattern in this position calms their mind. They feel centered, more aware of their body, and less tense overall. What began as a physical posture becomes a quiet moment of nervous system reset. If you look at traditional cultures across the world, especially those that spend less time in chairs, you will see older adults moving gracefully. They sit on the ground. They stand without effort. They garden, cook, talk, and rest while squatting. Mobility remains part of life, not something that disappears after 40. This doesn't mean they never have injuries or pain, but the base level of movement is different. The message here is simple. Movement is preserved by doing it, not by avoiding it. Now, how do you begin if squatting feels impossible today? The first rule is patience. Your body did not become stiff in 1 week, and it will not loosen completely in 1 week either. Start by holding a sturdy table or doorknob. Lower your hips only as far as you can while keeping your heels down. Breathe slowly. Do not force the position. Stay for 10 to 20 seconds, then come up. Repeat several times throughout the day. Each repetition teaches the joints that this position is safe. You can also place a small rolled towel or yoga block under your heels at first. This allows your hips to travel downward without straining the ankles too much. Over time, as your mobility improves, you can reduce the support. The goal is not to look perfect. The goal is to reconnect your body to a movement it once knew well. If you have knee surgery history, sharp pain, or serious joint disease, speak with a qualified professional before practicing deeply. That is not a warning to scare you, but to respect the uniqueness of every body. For many people, however, gentle squatting actually becomes part of their rehabilitation journey, not something to avoid. What happens when you stick with it? People often report surprising outcomes. They move through their day with less stiffness. Their hips feel freer. They bend to tie shoes or pick something off the floor without hesitation. Walking becomes smoother. They stand taller. Some notice fewer digestive troubles. Others feel more grounded mentally. All of these changes come from a simple idea: restoring natural movement instead of constantly adding artificial fixes. Think of the resting squat like brushing your teeth. You do not brush only when your teeth hurt. You brush to maintain them so pain does not occur. Squatting is the same. A few minutes each day helps maintain the body's fundamental motion pattern. You are not training to become a professional athlete. You are simply preserving the ability to move like a human. And there is another benefit that often goes unnoticed: independence. When you maintain the ability to get down and back up from the ground, you protect your long-term freedom. You reduce the risk of falls. You stay capable of playing with children or grandchildren, and you build confidence in your body. This is especially meaningful as we age. Mobility is not just physical. It is emotional, social, and deeply connected to quality of life. Let's imagine a small daily routine. In the morning, after waking, you spend 60 seconds practicing a gentle squat. At lunch, you do another minute. In the evening, you hold the position again while breathing slowly. Across weeks and months, this becomes a natural part of life, like stretching your arms when you get out of bed. Without forcing it, your body changes. Joints glide more smoothly. Muscles learn to share the workload. Movement becomes fluid, not stiff and mechanical. As you practice, pay attention to your breath. Let it be slow and smooth. If your shoulders tighten, relax them. If your heels lift, reduce your depth and keep working patiently. The journey is the lesson. Every second in the position is sending information to your nervous system. You are teaching your brain that deep movement is safe again. You may even notice changes in how you think about exercise. Instead of chasing exhaustion, you start valuing restoration. You begin to see the difference between training for appearance and training for function. The resting squat is part of the second category. It doesn't require equipment. It doesn't require a gym. All it requires is curiosity, patience, and consistency. And remember, this is not about perfection. Some days will feel easy. Other days will feel tight. Bodies fluctuate. The important thing is to keep showing up. Each practice is like watering a plant. You might not see dramatic growth overnight, But one day you look back and realize the plant is strong, healthy, and rooted. So ask yourself, what would change in your life if your hips were freer, your back lighter, your knees more confident, and your balance stronger? What experiences would open up if you simply felt comfortable using the ground again? The resting squat is not a trick. It is not a trend. It is a return, a gentle reminder of how your body was meant to move. Start small. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate every bit of progress. And over time, you may discover something surprising. This simple posture does not just change your legs or your joints. It shifts how you inhabit your body. It reconnects you with movement, with patience, and with trust in yourself. And that change, quietly, can influence the entire human body and the life lived inside it.